control, rent control. Make Seattle affordable. Rent control, rent control. Make Seattle affordable. Rent control, rent control. Make Seattle affordable. Rent control, rent control. Make Seattle affordable.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emerson Johnson. I'm an organizer with Kshama Sawant's re-election campaign and a member of Socialist Alternative. I want to thank all of the media for being here today and for our incredible movement. I want to welcome up Council Member Kshama Sawant to give a short comment.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Beautiful morning. Looks like our movement has won. And defended our socialist city council seat for working people against the richest man in the world. Though there are still some ballots to be counted.
That's right.
Every vote counts. The election results are a repudiation of the billionaire class, of corporate real estate and of the establishment, and a repudiation of corporate media like the Seattle Times editorial board, which used a lot of ink to spread lies, distortion, and misinformation. And not just this year, though the attacks were ramped up this year, but for 6 years, relentless attacks on our Socialist Council office. And working people in our city have stood up and said, Seattle is not for sale. Yes, it was close, with the unprecedented amounts of corporate cash dumped against us, with everything but the kitchen sink thrown at us. And in the end, Jeff Bezos did throw in the kitchen sink, perhaps not to his benefit. But in another sense, it was not close at all. Look at the late ballot returns from more working class and from younger voters who lean left, with 60% of the vote in late returns. That's not a close result. In the working class and people of color neighborhoods in District 3, they overwhelmingly voted to re-elect our socialist office. In this precinct where we stand right now, even on election night, before any late returns were counted, we had won this precinct by 68% of the vote. And I have no doubt that once the final precinct counts are announced, we will have won this precinct by far more than that. This will be true all over the Central District and Capitol Hill. Working people, people of color, young people came out in huge numbers to vote by overwhelming majorities for our socialist politics and against this attempted hostile corporate takeover. What made this election close was the assault by the corporate elite, corporate media, unprecedented PAC money, political establishment, all of that. What also made it close was a section of people who have been misled by right-wing ideas, who are correctly angry about homelessness and the massive crisis in our city, but are blaming the wrong people for it. We know that that they are wrong about demonizing homeless people and the poor. I urge these people to reject the false right-wing ideas and join our movement for the only ideas that will change society, for rent control, for a massive expansion of social housing and services by taxing big business. This was a polarized election where the corporate elite in this highly unequal district, like the rest of our city, many of whom live along the waterfront, voted in big numbers against socialist politics. Although, it should be mentioned, we had strong supporters in every neighborhood who have joined us in standing up against the attempt to turn Seattle into a playground for the rich, who stood with us for social justice, against the deep inequality in our city, and against the attack on our democracy. I'd like to introduce the media to our secret weapon, though of course we've never really kept it secret. This is our movement. And the people we have here are a small fraction of the people who fought with us. They are workers, unionized and non-unionized, retirees, labor unions, small business owners, people of faith, tech workers, students, and socialists who all made this possible. We had an incredible campaign team and over 1,000 volunteers who committed days, weeks, and months of their lives because they believed in this. They are a part of the movement that have made all our victories possible. The $15 minimum wage, landmark renters' rights, Indigenous Peoples' Day, tens of millions of dollars for affordable housing and social services. None of this would have been possible, let alone our elections. None of this would have been possible without building stronger and stronger movements. And last but in no way least, none of this would have been possible without my organization, Socialist Alternative. Socialist Alternative has been the absolute backbone of our movement in Seattle. And it is not mainly about numbers or organizing, it is the power of socialist ideas, Marxist ideas, the power of our analysis, strategies, our understanding of class struggle, the historical memory and lessons we bring of the past victories and defeats of our class, the working class. The great American abolitionist Frederick Douglass said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will." His contemporary, Karl Marx, the founder of scientific socialism along with Friedrich Engels, made the same point based on his analysis of capitalism and class society. He said, "The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles." This re-election campaign, where we faced the full might of the billionaire class, determined to stamp out working class politics in Seattle, was not mainly a matter of ideology though, and it never is. The billionaires were determined to stop further progressive victories for workers and marginalized communities, and, let's make no mistake, wanting to roll back our past victories. We defeated them because of our movement building approach, because we got organized and fought back. And contrary to many political pundits who think that maybe it's a good idea that I was re-elected, but they need to cure me of the movement building approach, the movement has been what has got us this far. And while this is a press conference, not a rally, I think it's still a rally and we need a chant to do this right. When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! will consider joining Socialist Alternative. Congratulations to Councilmember Lisa Herbold and to Tammy Morales. Congratulations also to Sean Scott and DSA, who ran an impressive campaign. And I think the media makes a mistake in trying to brand late voters as procrastinators. This is nonsense. They are working people and young people fed up with corporate politics and feel disconnected in general from this bankrupt system. But they were inspired about voting for our re-election and to re-elect a socialist. Now we go forward to building an even more powerful movement for rent control. For a Green New Deal. And to tax big businesses and the rich instead of ordinary working people. Because working people, retirees, middle-class homeowners, and small businesses have been taxed too much. I welcome the new progressives who have been elected to City Council, and I'm excited to join this new council to push for historic gains for working people. Our re-election, most of all, but also the overall City Council election results were as close of a referendum on the Amazon tax as possible. I look forward to working with this new progressive council to urgently pass a strong tax on the largest businesses in the city like Amazon. My message to old and new fellow council members is that this year's election represents a mandate for bold progressive ideas. The voters have spoken. We cannot allow these issues to be punted to the future or to ballot initiatives. The council has a responsibility to the working people who elected it.
That's right.
Our movement will provide that bold leadership, and I hope the progressive council members will join us. Our movement needs to build for the Green New Deal, a major expansion of social housing, and all of this, including the rent control measure to stop skyrocketing rents and force the hand of the legislature in Olympia. And we have a historic and crucial fight in the coming months to fight to ensure victory for Bernie Sanders for president. So that bold progressive policies can move forward on the national stage and we elect an organizer-in-chief. And most immediately in Seattle, I urge everybody to join us in the upcoming events for the People's Budget Movement. We are going to be fighting for as much as we can win for affordable housing, progressive taxation, restorative justice, and not expansion of the mass incarceration system, for renters' rights.